Greetings. This video is about learning to create and interpret line graphs. It's for 5th grade, and it has to do with Go Math, lesson 9.4, and we're going to go through it together. Remember, the idea is that you would do this first, and then you're looking at watching me go through it with you. So this whole page is about it's going to be one graph down here in this area on the sheet. And so I'm going to walk you through this in a number of ways of how to set up a line graph and then how to read it. So if you can't read those little numbers right now, I'm going to make them bigger in just a moment by writing the ordered pairs. So it says use the table for questions 1 through 5. The first question is write as related numbered pairs for the hourly temperature. Write the related number pairs for the hourly temperature as ordered pairs. So when we're going to turn them into ordered pairs, we're going to think of this as information for our x-axis and this for our y-axis on our coordinate grid, which is over here. And to refresh your memory, this is our x-axis and this is our y-axis. So we're going to go ahead and take this information and put it in the format of ordered pairs. So this next one is 11, 11. Then it's 12, 16. Then 1, 27. Then 2, 31. Then 3, 38. And lastly, 4, 41. I'm just going to put a little comma between them so I know they're a set of ordered pairs. Then it asks us what scale would be appropriate to graph the data. Wow, okay, well that's a complicated question. We're going to go over here and think about graphing the data. This is our x-axis time, which is 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is our temperature, which is going to go this way. So remember when we graph data, the increments in between need to be exactly the same. So we don't necessarily have to start at 0 or 1, but once we start, we need to have the interval, meaning the space between two lines, has to always be the same. So on the bottom, it's pretty easy. It starts at 10 and it keeps going through time. So I'm just going to put a little wiggle there to show that it could have started some earlier time, but 10 a.m. is the first one we care about. Then 11, and then 12, and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these are in time for PM. So we're going to label this time and just tell ourselves this is, oops, can't do that. Just tell ourselves that's time, okay? If I wanted to squeeze it in, I could say 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and down here this is going to be PM, but I don't really need to, I don't think, for our purposes. Okay, now we got to look at our y-axis and how are we going to plot that data? It is jumping around, 8, 11, or let's go up here, 8, 11, 16, 27, 31. So these distance between each one of these has to always be exactly the same. So it looks to me that we could use that distance as being 10 and we would have enough space. So let's check it out and see if it works. I have to make sure I can get at least 41 in there. So I could say 10, 20, 30, 40. Ooh, that's going to make for a very short graph. So you know what? I'm going to change that, having learned, having done that, and say, what if I make it just increments, intervals of 5? So this line now is going to be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Oh, I like that better. I hope you do too. Oops, I got to get at least at 41, so I'm going to go 45 up here. Okay, so now so what scale would be appropriate to graph the data? We're going to say this is 0, a 0 to 50 scale is what we've used right here. 0 up to 50 And then they're asking what interval would be appropriate. Well, we figured out to get a full-size line graph, we went with intervals of 5. Okay, so that's all we have to put there. Now they want us to make a line graph with the data. So when you make a line graph, it's very much like you've already done, which is plotting points. It's just we're going to connect those points with a line. So let's go ahead and plot the points. We have 10 up, so again, over first for X, up for Y. So over 10, up about 8. You have to guess each time exactly where it would be or just give an estimate of where it would be here. So we're going to go over to 11. Now up 11, which is going to be just past 10. Over to 12, up to 16, which is going to be just past 15. Over to 1 p.m. and up to 27, so just past 25, a little bit of space. And now we're going to go over to 2 p.m. and up past 30, just a little bit, to 31, over to 3 p.m. and we're going to go up to 38, which is going to be just shy of 40, and then over to 4 p.m. and up to just past 40 to 41. So now we're going to connect our dots. Just like if you ever played did some of the connect the dot drawings when you were younger, or maybe still. So we've now made a line graph. Congratulations. So now they ask us to use, so I'm just going to put here C graph. You don't actually need to do anything there. They wanted you to do it over here. So now they're asking us to use the graph to find the difference in temperature between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Well, we would go to 11 and look up here to see where that data point is. Go to 1, see where that data point is, and figure out the difference in height. Now, we also have that data up here, which is for 11, our temperature is 11, and for 1, our temperature is 27. So I think that's a little easier than reading what these are, since we had to estimate. So basically, to find the difference in the temperature, we're taking 27, which is the highest it got, and subtracting 11. So we're looking at this and looking at this one. We're trying to figure out what that difference is right there. So we're going to take 27 minus 11. I'm going to set it up vertically over here to make it easier. And we get 16. So it is 16 degrees. I want to label 16 what? 16 degrees. Speaking of which, I missed a labeling over here. I should label this y-axis as it is labeled up here, temperature. So let's put that in to remind ourselves, what are we really talking about when we look at this data? And this is degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, great. Okay, now we're going to go to the last question, and it's going to ask us, between which 2 hours did the least change in temperature occur? So the way you find the least amount of change on a line graph is to see where is the line, where is this line the least steep. So if it goes up fast, then it's a lot of change. If it goes up slowly, it's a small amount of change. So you could see on this, I'm going to come in here with a pen and say, and I have one mistake here on my line graph, which is I didn't have data for 0. So this little part, I'm going to white out right here real quick. So my line starts there with data. So we're going to look at where is it the least steep, and the place it is the least steep is going to be at the beginning and the end. Hopefully that you see that. So it's right, let me change pens and mark this right about here, and right about there on mine is where it looks like the angle is the least steep. right? So I'm going to go up here to collect the data on what exactly that is. So we had looked at between the first one and this, between the first point and the second point, between 8 and 11 is only 3 degrees. And then our last 2 points was between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. And look at that. Again, it's only 3 degrees, 38, 39, 38, 39, 40, 41, right? As we move up. So this is a difference of 3 degrees, and this is a difference of 3 degrees. Okay, so when they come down and ask us between which 2 hours did the least change in temperature occur, we're going to say between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m., which is our first 2 points of data, and between 3 p.m. 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. Okay, and you could have just written 10 a.m. without the colon and the 2 zeros. Either way is fine. Okay, now it's asking us what was the change in temperature between 12 noon and 4 p.m. So to do that, we can go to 2 places. We can look at our chart, our line graph, and go to 12 and see that there's what our temperature is here at 12, and then we're going to go over to 4 and look at our temperature at 4. Again, I think it's easier to go up to the data that gives us the exact numbers. So they're asking us between 12 and 4. So let's go up and look at our 12 o'clock data. That's this one. And our 4 p.m. data, which is this one. And our temperature are these 2 numbers, 41 and the 16. So we're trying to find the difference between these 2. This time our 12 o'clock data is here, and our 4 p.m. data is here, so we're looking for that height. Okay, but we're just going to subtract our numbers to get there. So we're going to go to look at 41 minus the 16 and solve for that. And we do have to do a little regrouping to do this. So we're going to go next door and borrow 1. And we end up with 25. And it's 25 what? Say it out loud. Yes, degrees. 25 degrees. You could write it that way, or you could write degrees Fahrenheit like that. Okay, and we made it. That was the end of the first page. There is 1 more page to go. So we're going to go back here and take a look at this page, this last one. We're not going to do all of the, we're not going to do all the spiral review. We're just going to do the lesson check here, okay? So just doing this part now. So on this, we have a chart that says weekly height of plant on the top, and the height is our y-axis and weeks is across the bottom. So it says, asks us, how many centimeters did the plant grow in the first 3 weeks? So this is about reading a graph like this. So we are just gonna, this is fairly simple once you understand how the graph works. We're gonna go over to 3 weeks, and we're gonna go up to see, this is the line that I'm traveling up to see how much was the height when at 3 weeks. It's that point, and it goes over to the 60, so the height is 60. Now 60 what? This tells us, if you could read it, hopefully you can on your copy, the height is in centimeters. So we're gonna put 60 centimeters there. The next question is, between which 2 weeks did the plant grow the least? So remember, this is where I said, look for where the line is the least steep. When it's steep, it's growing fastest or changing fastest. When it's flatter, the flatter it gets, the less it's changing on this y-axis. So it looks to me like where it's flattest is right here, right? And that's right between week 4 and 5. All right, hope that went well for you. That's it for today, and we'll see you next time. Okay, bye.